Welcome back to another episode of Two Track Mind podcast. A special episode for you guys here today. Someone who's actually pretty much been on set for most of these when we're recording. We have Enrique Abad with us today. He is the owner and founder of Driven Autosport, where, if you guys don't know, this is the Two Track Mind studio is actually located inside of Driven on the mezzanine.
I'm his landlord.
He's pretty chill. He's a pretty chill guy. He complains from noise about noise from time to time, but we get along just fine. Does it look different from up here when you're looking at the shop?
The shop looks like a mess. That's why I don't like coming up here.
Oh, is that why?
Yeah, because it shows all the mess. I'm trying to hide. It's all good.
I mean, it's almost springtime, so is it spring yet?
Yeah, it's spring.
I guess technically it's already spring, so yeah, we're gonna have to do a little bit of a cleanup and get things ready for the track season.
Yep.
All right. So the way I want to do this, and I think you're the first guest that we've had who's like super deep in the industry. Someone who works on tuning cars and has been doing it for a while. So I'm really curious to kind of get your thoughts on how the scene has developed over the past while, and then I kind of want to get into the ins and outs of what it takes and what the reality is like in running a shop.
Mm-hmm.
But before we get to that point, I want you to have an opportunity to introduce yourself. So who are you and how do you spend your time and energy?
My name is Enrique, and this is what I love to do.
Yeah,
this is it. I'm here all the time. For good and for worse, I guess. I'm here all the time. We modify cars and we also do service.
Yeah,
that's the main thing. It's what we'll get into that, but that's what keeps the
lights on.
Keep the lights on. But we do modify cars. It's not by choice. Well, it is by choice now, but I try to get away from it a couple of times, but I just can't seem to get away from it.
Keeps pulling you back in.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, keeps pulling you back.
For sure.
Yeah. So one question I really like to ask our guests to kind of help the listeners relate in their own their own journeys with cars and with automobiles is to talk about your earliest car memory, and whether that's something mundane or something very specific to tuner cars or show cars or anything like that. I'm just kind of curious to what you remember about cars in your childhood.
Cars in my childhood. I mean, my dad, it's kind of how it is with most of guys like me. It's my dad like cars. I didn't grow up here. I grew up in the Philippines.
Yeah.
So back home, he had some. I don't really say that he had like tuner cars.
Yeah.
But he was always tinkering. So that's my earliest memories of cars. Just as a kid.
Do you remember what those cars were? Like, what did you guys have at home?
My dad had a lot of cars. I think the cars that I remember the most is before we left the country.
Yeah.
He had like a Lancer.
Yeah, Mitsubishi.
Very popular. Yeah.
Yeah.
He had a Mitsubishi Lancer. It was like an Evo 5, but it wasn't an Evo. It was just like a regular Lancer.
Yeah.
Yeah. But then his brother had an Evo 4. Yeah. So it was pretty cool.
Yeah, this is back when they were like true rally cars.
Yeah.
The body styling.
And then my dad had this it looked like a Jeep, but it was like you put it together like the Filipinos know, it's like this, like it's kind of like a kit car.
Okay.
You put it together and you drive it. So it's like an open top Jeep.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he had that when I was very young. I think he had a variation of it when I was a little older, for like a little bit. That's it. Yeah.
For a kit car like that, it was just like converting like a chassis that already exists with something else, or
I don't know exactly. I don't really look into it, but yeah, it was. I think you get it. I don't know how you get it, but it literally looks like a Jeep from the 50s.
Yeah.
But it's like lowered.
Yeah.
4-cylinder.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember
manual.
I remember when I was kind of traveling, like back in undergrad, like doing exchange, like when I was in Southeast Asia, the Mitsubishi was pretty popular. You
Yep.
see a lot of those.
Yep.
What were some of the other brands, like if for people who've never been to the Philippines, like what's hot locally? What do people drive? What's like the Toyota Corolla over there?
It is a Toyota Corolla,
It's
actually.
still a
Yeah, it's a
Toyota
Toyota Corolla, Honda Civic.
Yeah.
I don't know how it is now. I mean, I moved in 2001.
Yeah.
But that Jeep that I was talking about, that was like way before my time. But that was like something that he always talked about
Yeah.
with me growing up. Even now he still talks about it. But I'm pretty sure like at one point the country was under martial law. So I think in the 70s. So they only had like Corollas and stuff. Like Japanese cars. Yeah. So growing up, all the taxis were Corollas.
Yeah.
You know, everyone drove a Civic.
Yeah.
And stuff like that. You know.
Yeah.
Like I think my dad had like a Toyota Town Ace, which is like an early minivan.
Okay.
It's you know, everyone's driving like Alfards right now and stuff.
Yeah.
So back in the 80s, they had this like minivan. I think 80s, 90s. It kind of looks like you know that van that Matt Farah has, the right-hand drive one. Anyway, it's like I think his is a Mitsubishi, but my dad had like a similar one, but it was a Toyota and it was like manual.
Yeah.
It fit like 15 people or something like that.
15.
Some nonsense like that. Yeah.
You can just drive that with a regular driver's license.
Yeah. Yeah. I think like 10 people. Yeah. Something like that. I can't remember, but he had that for a bit. And then we moved here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How old were you when you guys came?
I was 9.
Yeah.
Yeah. I haven't been back.
Really?
Yeah.
Do you want to?
I want to. I want to see what the culture is like for sure.
Yeah. Just haven't had the opportunity.
Yeah, like the car culture there is intense because they're right beside Japan, so the JDM scene is like insane.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'd like to go check it out.
The people just like importing cars.
Yeah, so up until recently, right-hand drive cars are illegal.
Okay.
So I think Philippines is one of the only places where you can get a legit left-hand drive conversion on any car.
Right.
So there's like Skylines there and Evos, cars that never came left-hand drive or left-hand drive over there.
Right.
And it's like pretty legit swap.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, we're starting to see a lot more cars coming this way. Now that what is it in Canada is like 25 years?
It's 15 years here.
15.
The US is 25 years.
Okay.
That's why all the prices of GDM cars have gone up ever since the US
started getting wanting them.
Yeah, I saw the progression. Like you can pick up an R32 GTR when I was 18 for like 10 grand.
Yeah.
And that was considered a good car.
Yeah.
You're not even seeing that anymore. It's like 70, 80 grand minimum.
Exactly. And then once that 25-year mark hit, all the content creators started doing the builds, which then shot up the value on those cars even more, right?
It's unattainable now.
Unobtainable.
It doesn't even make sense to buy for that much money.
Yeah. I mean, that's always like the thing now. It's like you grew up with these like Halo cars from TV shows and stuff like that, from Initial D's, like, oh, I want that. But then you don't really think about like the reality of what it's like to own a car like that.
The depreciation doesn't work for those cars, I guess.
Well, especially if it's gonna be like for young kids, right? Like if it's gonna be like their daily.
Yeah,
man, you're just in for a world of hurt to be able to deal with that.
I knew some guys that daily R32s when I was like 17, 18. Yeah. It was back then. It was normal. Like somebody, an 18, 19-year-old that would spend 10, 15 grand on this car doesn't have enough money for another car.
Yeah.
There was one time where I was walking to school and there was a dude driving his E86.
Yeah.
With like a winter jacket. It was in the middle of winter. This was like February.
Yeah.
And he was driving with a winter coat and gloves and like a toque because he had no heat in the car. Yeah, he was driving.
Yeah.
It was like a regular day.
That's dedication.
Yeah, car guys would rather do that than take the bus. 100%. Yeah. Especially back then.
Yeah, for sure. So, you spent your childhood in the Philippines. You came to Canada. Was like Toronto the first place you guys settled in, or were you guys somewhere else before then?
Yeah, I was here. Yeah, but we live with my uncle for a bit. He lives at the edge of Markham and Scarborough, like Steele's there.
Yeah.
And then like we slowly moved down. like as the years went by.
Yeah. And now, like thinking about like when you started getting into the car hobby here in Canada, in Toronto, what were some of those like milestones in your, whether like, you know, through high school, middle school, like did you do shop class or stuff like that? Like
Yeah,
how did it?
I did shop class in high school.
Okay.
Yeah, so growing up, I mean, immigrant parents. So my dad didn't want to take his car to any shop. So I would remember just wrenching with him on weekends.
Yeah.
Like his cars and stuff. And yeah, when I went to high school, we had shop class. So I took shop class in high school. Yeah, that's kind of where it started for me.
Yeah.
I would say. Yeah.
Do you remember what projects you guys are working on in class?
No, man. Like there was really no projects.
Okay.
We just, it was funny. We just went there and we had a bunch of like clunkers and we
Okay.
just did work, like do breaks, do this. Just like no.
Yeah.
It was almost like, child labor. Because sometimes, the teachers would want to get the car fixed for really cheap. So they would just pull up and then they would leave the car there. We'd work on it.
Yeah.
Yeah. It wasn't actually, I mean, in terms of the curriculum, it was, you learned everything. But when it comes to the actual practical shop class, it was just kind of like, just get in there and do something.
Yeah.
Try not to hurt yourself. Try not to blow up.
Yeah. That's kind of interesting. I mean, I guess it's a lot more practical that way, where you're actually doing a specific type of job.
Yeah, like
right?
There's things that like the earliest thing they would teach you is you have to put the thermostat in hot water, and then you have to wait to see when it opens.
Yeah.
So that's stuff like that because they want you to see how it works,
right.
And stuff. So yeah, we did stuff like that, and then we'd make like a plate. So it teaches you how to use the drill, how to tap, how to tap threads.
Yeah.
And stuff like that. How to use we weren't allowed to use any like a power tool, so you had to do everything by hand. So you had to learn how to use like a saw. Yeah, stuff like that. I guess those are the projects that we would do.
Yeah. And so beyond high school, then did you go like directly into like another program to get into the automotive trade, or?
Yeah, so in grade 12, I didn't know what to do.
That's typical.
Yeah, I was kind of just wandering the halls, just thinking about where I'm going to go after high school.
Yeah.
Just because I didn't really think that would be a career for me,
What were you debating at the time?
I don't know. It was just the pressure being an Asian, I guess. My parents, my mom is a academic, so obviously she wants me to go to university for anything. Yeah. So I don't know. I didn't really know what to do. I felt uncomfortable, doing that just because it just didn't really what I wanted to do. Yeah. So it was I think it wasn't even grade 11. We already started grade 12. Yeah. And I was actually over my credits. I can basically finish the first semester because it was like
overachiever over here.
I just never took any free courses. Like I didn't, how they give you like a spare. I never took it. I just took.
Isn't the spare for lunch?
Well, so I think like sometimes when you have too much, they'll give you like first period you have a spare. Or like third period you have a spare. Yeah. So in grade 11, I had 2 spares and I just took something else. Because I don't want to be not at school. Yeah. Just because I don't know what else to do.
Yeah, I get you.
Yeah. So grade 12, first semester, the guidance counselor actually, well, I told my auto teacher that I'm like, hey, I don't know what to do, kind of lost here. Because by that time, me and the auto teachers have gotten pretty close. So I just tell them I don't know what to do. And then they're like, you should try to do this. I'm like, nah. I'm like, nah, I don't really see that happening. So then they're like, okay, And then the guidance counselor actually called me to her office. Yeah. And then she kind of just broke it down for me. Yeah. This is what you're going to do. If you want to do this is the program. So there's a 4-credit co-op program, second semester, and you spend 2 months. So January, February, you spend it January, February, March, and April.
Hmm.
You spend it. You're going in between. So you spend 2 months in the high school in shop class, and then after that you spend 2 months in Centennial College, the local college by my high school, where they offer the program.
Yeah.
And you basically do like a college level automotive course.
Yeah.
And then the last 2 months, which is May and June, you get put in a placement, and your job is to try to get a job. So that's what I did. 'Cause I didn't know how to do anything else. Yeah. I mean, I wanted to. There was another option, was just to go to college and try to play some rugby.
Yeah. You played rugby?
I played rugby for 3 years.
What position?
Man, it's been so long, to be honest.
Yeah. I feel like you could have been an 8-man.
Yeah, it's been so long. Like, when people ask me this, I don't even know what to tell them. Did you even play? I'm like, bro, I got photos.
I mean, the position names are they're all kind of funny. So
Yeah, so I was just the dude that, like, just like try to hit people, I guess. It was fun. I played grade 10 towards the end.
yeah.
That's when they introduced the sport to the school.
What school you go to?
I went to John Vangie.
Okay.
It's in Scarborough.
Okay.
It's called us. I don't even know what it's called anymore, but they changed the school name.
Yeah. Okay.
And then in grade 11, I played same thing I played. And in grade 12, I wasn't gonna play, but there was rugby sevens, so I tried rugby sevens. That was really hard. There's a lot of running. There's a lot of
fewer people to
like
come
half
to the field.
bands there's a lot of running, so I did that for a bit. It was fun, and then at the time, the coach was like, "What are you gonna do after high school?" I was like, "I don't know."
Yeah.
So he's like, "You can try to go like play rugby." I was like, "I could, I could do that," but I really like cars more. So
Yeah.
that's where I kind of ended up. So I did the program, and then I worked at while I was doing the program, my shop teacher got me a job at a shop, like a private shop. It was one of his old students from like long time, from the 90s.
Yeah.
So I ended up working there probably for like 2 months, like every Saturday and stuff. And it was just a regular shop.
Mm-hmm.
Like all they worked on was just like clunkers.
Yeah.
Like Astra vans. That thing was like popular,
That's like
just
the
basically
Chrysler, right?
Yeah, basically regular cars. And like I didn't mind because it got me in the foot, like it got my foot through the door.
Yeah.
And I got to see like the culture, and that generation is rough.
Yeah.
Of mechanics. They just chain smoke like it was no tomorrow.
Mm.
I'm actually surprised I didn't pick up smoking from doing this trade. Like not once did I touch it. Well, in college I did, like for a bit. And then but it was just like, oh yeah, I'm smoking because it's during the break. So do you want one? So I'm like, sure. But I never liked it.
Yeah.
But I did that for a bit, and then I told my teacher I didn't really like it there. Like the guys were super nice, but I don't know. I didn't want something like that.
Yeah.
Where I was just working on like stuff like that. And, I just heard that minimum wage is $17.75 now. When I started doing that job, they paid me $8 an hour.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Inflation's been.
Yeah, $8. Imagine now 17. Oh my God.
Yeah. But I mean, 17 doesn't get you very far.
Doesn't get you
That's like
either,
that's like a 10-piece McNuggets meal now.
So then after I did that, he got me in. So he didn't know what to do. He's like, okay, let's figure it out. So he reached out to my old service manager at there's a Toyota dealership by my school.
Okay.
It's Scarborough Toyota. So I ended up doing my co-op there after I finished the college.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then around June, the service manager was like, "Hey man, I need you to come back." I'm like, "All right, when do you want me to start? Right now?" He goes, "No. How about you go have a summer?" And then
That's nice.
Yeah.
Looking out for you.
Yeah, I'll call you around August and we'll get you started. So, and that was it.
Yeah.
That summer I just chilled, and then he called me, and then that's kind of how it started for me.
You started with Toyota, huh?
Yeah. Started with Toyota.
Are there any big recalls during that time, or like?
Yeah, the pedals.
Okay.
Remember when the gas pedal got stuck?
Yeah.
That family. So we were doing a lot of pedals.
Yeah.
Like we were doing so much pedals that the apprentices had to go do pedals.
Yeah.
There wasn't just like the decks.
Everyone.
Yeah. So
Which models did it affect?
everything. Corollas, Camrys, Priuses for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
What they call unintended acceleration, right? Was that the term?
Yeah.
The pedal was just getting stuck on something?
That's why they created the hooks.
Okay.
Like they were more strict about the hooks. Because when like you see everything when you're at the dealership, like taxi drivers, everybody. And yeah, the one thing was there was a lot of they put a lot of like mats.
Yeah.
And the gas pedal was very light.
Yeah.
So I guess it got stuck.
Yeah.
I don't know what happened to that family, but that's kind of where it started.
Yeah.
And then I don't know, people, I think that was like a weird time because people were coming in saying that like, oh, I rear-ended somebody because the car wouldn't stop accelerating.
Yeah, everyone's just piling with their stories, right?
Yeah, everybody was coming in and we had engineers from Toyota Canada coming in, checking it out, and they're like, I don't know, we don't see anything.
Yeah.
And then I think the first fix that they came out with was we had to put shims inside the pedal.
Okay.
It's like these machine shims that came from Toyota Canada.
Yep.
And I think that was supposed to tension the spring inside.
The spring.
So it gives you more feedback.
Mm-hmm.
And I think they ended up just, because I believe there was 2 pedal companies that they used. It was the other one that was faulty.
Okay.
Yeah. So I think they just ended up replacing it afterwards. I didn't.
But faulty in that sense was just like what the spring force?
I guess. Yeah, I guess. I didn't. I was only there till 2012, so I didn't.
Yeah.
I know that when I left, they were still doing the recalls.
Yeah.
But they were still trying to fix it. And then your typical like short blocks because like they were burning oil and stuff like that.
Yeah. What if that's like an argument at some point, like just to go to floor mounted pedals to avoid that? Like, is that like a thing that, like, why do the German cars always do, floor mounted than the Japanese cars?
German cars,
top mount.
I think everybody just has a preference.
Yeah. I will say, being in Canada though, the having a floor mounted pedal, there's no way to design a mat that can cover the entire bottom without salt just sneaking behind the hinge, right?
Yeah.
Like you got to clean that every spring
Religiously.
Yeah.
BMWs have the floor mounted ones. I like them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. So you started at a big OEM. What were the shops between that Toyota dealership and where you are today?
There was only one other shop.
Okay.
Yeah, which is the shop that I moved. So I did Toyota 4 years.
Yeah.
And then I even did a trade school. So there's a Toyota program. That's how I finished my schooling.
Okay.
Yeah. So
where's that located? They send you out somewhere?
Centennial too.
Okay.
So Centennial College at Warden and Eglinton is like the main trade school in the area, like in the Greater Toronto area. So they have the Honda program there. They have a GM program, and then they have the Toyota program. I'm sure they have other programs too, like for OEMs.
Okay.
That's where all the truck and coach guys go, and then the aircraft guys are there too.
Yeah.
So everybody's there. So I did the Toyota program there. It was pretty fun. But then I don't know, like 3 years in, I got pretty bored. Yeah, I wanted to do something else. At that time, I was just getting into like actually cars. Like I bought my first car, bought a Honda Prelude.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So I think once you get, because I took the bus for like a year, then I'm like, I need a car. And against my parents' wishes, I got a car.
Yeah.
So it was the Honda. And it was a Prelude. And that was
you just went out and just bought it yourself.
Yeah. That was with my hard-earned money.
He just showed up at home and was like, hey, I got a car.
No. So I had to convince him to do it.
Okay.
Because they, at the time, they were taking me to like look at the cars.
I see.
Yeah. So actually, we looked at this car. I liked it. So my dad went with me to pick it up.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then I just drove it back to work.
Yeah.
It was pretty cool.
That was a sick car.
Yeah, I really liked it.
Yeah.
I mean, like it's heavy, but like everything's heavy now anyway.
Yeah. And
that was cool.
What was the motor in that car? It's like, it was a little unconventional, right? Compared, it wasn't like the Bs of that generation.
Yeah, I was age 22.
Yeah.
So I think the difference is it had like instead of a sleeve, like for the cylinder wall, it's like a like a spray-on liner.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Very, very like, like
Econo.
no, it's very like I guess in terms of like technology, it's up there.
Really?
So it worked well
Okay.
until like until the material gets scratched off.
Yeah.
And then it just starts burning oil like crazy.
Yeah.
Mine luckily was pretty good. It was a pretty good car.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then that's when kind of I got bored of the dealership because I'm like, I want to, on weekends, my days off, I was just wrenching on the cars, modifying it.
What do you remember? What mods were first to go on?
Coilovers, baby. Some BC racing coilovers.
Just slammed it, right?
It wasn't slammed. I've always been like a pretty reasonable guy.
Yeah.
So like, it was lowered, but it wasn't like too low.
Yeah.
And then, your typical like intake, then I did a header exhaust. Then I got it tuned. And then it was fun. And then I did a clutch on it and stuff. I did a bunch of other work on it. Then I just sold it after that.
Any regrets on that sale?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I should have kept it for sure. But I don't know. I was just like a antsy like adolescent.
Yeah. When you're young, you never know what you want to hold on to.
Yeah. My I don't know. I think it kind of goes back for a second what I'm doing now because I remember this so clearly and it annoys me every time I think about it because I guess it's like what pursued me to what this is right now is when I think it was like a weekday, like on Wednesday. I was working afternoon shifts there.
Okay.
Toyota. And afternoons usually like 3 to midnight because they were open till midnight.
Midnight?
Yeah. So that was the only dealership that was open till midnight. It was mainly for like taxi drivers.
Okay.
Like,
Yeah.
And the guys that can't come during the day.
Yeah. Okay.
So there was a team. There was like 5 techs.
Yeah.
They'll do it at nighttime. So I was a rotating apprentice. So every couple months we'll have that shift.
Yeah.
So I got that shift for like 2 months. And one of the day shift mechanics, his buddy that used to work there, left and went somewhere else. And he's a kind of like a car guy too.
Yeah.
So he ended up, this was like 2010.
Mhm.
So, and I already had my Honda. And he pulled up in a brand new STI. I was like, damn, so nice.
Yeah.
It was a
What
white,
generation was that?
it was like Dan's.
Okay.
So it was a white STI.
It's like, what do they call that? Not Hawkeye.
Oh, it's like the
Blob Hawks
Stink Eye. I think it's
That's what they
Stink
call it.
Eye,
It's like a weird name.
So it's like a GRB. So that chassis, it was white. That was a fun time because in 2010 you can go to Bud Subaru and you can get a modified STI from the dealer. So that's what he did. So he bought the car.
The dealership was doing the mods.
So the dealership modified the car for him.
That's
Downpipe, exhaust.
yeah.
Yeah, so it was downpipe exhaust and a Cobb tune, right?
They give you warranty on that?
I don't know actually. I'm not sure.
Maybe warranty from the dealership.
I don't know, but that's how he picked up the car.
Okay.
And his brother-in-law had an Evo 10,
Okay.
like an MR, so it was the automatic. So I got to drive both.
Yeah.
I actually drove the Evo first. Didn't really like it. I'm like, it's fast, but I don't know. I was young, so I'm like, it's not a manual. I don't want to touch it. Because
how the times have changed, huh?
Yeah, I know. So, and then he came one night with the STI.
Yeah.
I think he just wanted to do an oil change, so his buddy was doing the oil change. And I'm just talking to him. I'm looking at the car. I'm like, I was like, what? I was like 18.
Mm.
And I was like, wow, this is the sickest thing I've ever seen.
Yeah.
It's got like gold rims. It's got like big brakes, it's loud.
Yeah.
And it's a 4-door, it's a manual. And I'm just talking to him about it. And he's like, you want to drive it? I was like, yeah, of course I want to drive it. So I just drove it around the back lot.
Yeah.
And that was it. Fell in love. Sold my Prelude after that.
Really?
Yeah, that's
how many days?
It took a while. It took a couple months, but I ended up just like selling the car after that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you wanted an Evo? Or sorry, you wanted an STI?
I wanted some sort of turbo car.
Yeah.
But I just could not, I don't know finances either back then. So.
Yeah, you're 18, man.
Yeah, man, 18, 19, it's like whatever, My mom is an accountant.
Yeah.
So she's always like, save your money, do this, do that. I'm like, nah, I want to like blow my money in cars. and then, I could only, whatever I had in my hand,
Yeah.
the money that I have is what I'm going to pay for this car. So I ended up selling the Honda, lost money on it, obviously.
Yeah.
But my mom actually ended up helping me. So I found a Subaru.
Yeah.
I found a Legacy. It was a 2005 Legacy GT.
Mm-hmm.
The previous owner had it professionally worked on.
Okay.
So they did like an STI swap. So it was STI motor and drivetrain already. And it had like a big turbo kit on it. So I ended up purchasing that. And I drove that for like 5 years.
That's a pretty long time.
Yeah, it's a long time. And then I ended up
like with no major issues.
I mean, God.
I mean, rule of thumb is usually to never buy somebody else's like.
It was good.
Car.
No, the car was mechanically well done.
Yeah.
It was just me.
Okay.
Yeah. I was driving it way too fast in the rain, and it spun.
Really?
There's so much torque. I think it made like. It's really irresponsible. It made as the dyno sheet was in the glove box. It made like 450 wheel.
That's
and
a ton.
like 480 torque.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of power. And coming from a front wheel drive Honda.
Yeah.
To
all wheel drive.
Like an all wheel drive Subaru that had kind of alignment. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I ended up wrapping it hitting the curb and stuff. Yeah. And that's kind of like the downfall of that car started to. Yeah. I mean, I had a good time with it. I went through phases with that car. Like I tracked it, realized that it might blow up, so I stopped.
SMP, TMP.
It's mostly SMP actually.
Yeah, back in the day, that's what the further back you go, I feel like people talk about
Shannonville is the true OG track. Yeah, and all these guys complaining now about driving there it's too long, brother. You drive there we used to do a night session.
You leave
like once every other week. So you would drive there for 5 p.m. Yeah. And you're just half asleep trying to drive back to like 11. You get back here at like 11 midnight. Yeah. So it was fun. Shannonville was really fun.
Yeah, I've done some evening sessions at Shannonville. Yeah, we've done testing there with the RSX, like when they just run like, I don't know, like the Fabi circuit or like the really short one. It felt like you were just like go-karting because the track is so narrow too. Yeah. Right?
Yeah, so it was amazing because like night sessions back then were like $80, $70. Yeah. You can get even when I used to go with like an organizer, it was like $50-$60 pull up. Yeah. And so at the time you're not really mathing. You're like, oh my God, $60 for a track day, let's go. Yeah. But in reality you gotta pay $100 for gas, and then you gotta
tires, brakes
and stuff like that. So I did it with the Legacy a couple times, and then after that I turned it into a stance car. Yeah. Yeah. I lowered it all the way, put some stretch tires on it. It looked good. And I drove it like that.
Pulling up at shows?
Yeah. And I drove it like that for a couple of years. And then after that, I just went back to and then at that time I started working at the used shop, and I just didn't have time to, wrench anymore or to do any of that. So I went back to normal. Yeah. Until I sold it. Yeah, I traded it in. No, I sold it. Yeah.
You're saying it was stance at like what? How much camber?
It wasn't a lot. It wasn't a lot. It was like 3.5. Yeah, I would say. Yeah. I like that scene, but I don't really like if it's too like tilty. Plus, it was like my coilovers were like 25K spring rates.
Jeez, that's basically solid.
Yeah, my mom was very upset. I drove her to the doctor's appointment. She was very mad. Well, I mean, but it looks good. Like I said, I've done it all. Like I've done, everything in the seat. Yeah, tried to. I dabbled into it. Yeah, it's fun. I get the hate, but it's always fun to do it.
Nah, it's okay, man. Everyone's got their own thing,
Yeah, like I'm for the culture. So hey, as long as you're having a good time, that's all that matters. Yeah. So I traded that car in. No, I sold the car. I don't know what happened to it, but I sold it, and then I bought a BRZ.
Wow, that's when the BRZ came in, huh?
The BRZ came. That was 2015. Yeah, June. Yeah,
the red one.
Yep.
Yeah, I remember that car.
Yep, me too. I miss it.
Was that from the dealer, or did you? buy secondhand?
Not to the dealer. I leased it. It was through Scarborough Subaru.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I walked in there, and at the time I was working at the next shop, which is Speedstar.
Yeah.
So that's when I was really involved into like more like racing stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What was their bread and butter there?
When I started going there, it was S1000s.
Okay.
Yeah, like the owner he told me he had like more than 10, more than 12 S1000s.
Personally?
Like personally, yeah, personally in his lifetime as a car person.
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah,
Like
yeah.
going through them. Yeah.
Going through them.
Yeah,
So and like back then you don't really realize, but his S1000 bills were pretty baller.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I think his last S1000 before he sold it to his customer was like a all Mugen S1000. Like Mugen kit, Mugen hardtop, Mugen intake. I'm pretty sure in today's market, if you were to sell those parts, you could probably put a down payment on a house, no problem.
Yeah. It's kind of nuts.
Yeah, it's kind of nutty. But yes, that was it. That was like a lot of tuner cars. I think when I started when I got hired there,
Yeah.
they were transitioning into like supercars.
I see.
Like like Lamborghinis, Ferraris, Porsches, but you didn't really see too much of it. When I was there, it was mainly Porsches. I think that's like the easiest market to get into if you're trying to do it, because everybody drives a 911, everybody drives a Cayman. Even back then, everyone like drove Caymans and stuff because they're like, it's an entry Porsche, it's good. But I was still doing a lot of STIs, Evos, a lot of BMWs, a lot of M3s at the time, C63s.
Yeah, C63s were pretty hot for a minute.
Yeah, the W204s. It's sad that the generation after never took off, but that was probably the best C63 you can buy as a W204.
Yeah.
Good car. Yeah, I think the 204.
You can always hear when one's coming.
Yep.
That's what I remember.
It doesn't even matter if it's stock exhaust. You can hear it.
Yeah.
You will hear it.
Yeah.
You're not going to miss it. But yeah, a lot of M3s. And then GTRs. So as a young kid, like that's trying back then Instagram wasn't really like it's
for sharing food, not for cars.
Yeah, sharing food. So you have to go to car meets yourselves, and you're seeing these cars, and then you went from seeing them to working on them. So it was it was a pretty special moment in my life for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, working there. It was they gave me a lot of opportunities for sure.
Nice.
Yeah, it was
so
good.
I know one of the things that we talked about in the past, around that era, you were also crewing for some professional race teams, right?
Yeah, we started a Cup Car team.
Yeah.
In like 2014, 2015.
Yeah.
So when I started working there, Speedstar was still like a big part of like CSCS. So they were still sponsoring the event. So there was a couple of their drivers that still competed. And so I was helping doing that. And then they decided to get into like cup racing.
Okay.
So they ended up, I remember it was like winter. No, it was like fall of like 2014.
Yeah.
We went to a track day. It was like September. And then, we just pulled up in a cup car. They picked up the cup car, and then we just like had somebody drive it. And the next thing you know, the following year, we started the season.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was pretty fun. We only did like 2 or 3 races the first season.
Yeah.
Just because the driver kept bidding the car in the wall, and we ran out of money.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, but it was fun. We did
what tracks?
The first year we did GP.
Okay.
Obviously.
Yeah.
And then we did Indy.
The Toronto Indy.
The Honda Indy, yeah.
Yeah.
Indy.
Like the support race at the beginning, right?
Yeah, that was fun. That was super fun. And then I remember for the third race, we were supposed to go to Watkins Glen.
Yeah.
And then we just never got to go because I think the driver had some sort of like visa issue at the time.
Okay.
And then after that, we just never raced. Yeah. And then the following year, I think they partnered up with the dealership, Downtown Porsche.
Yeah.
So we actually did managed a full season.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we did. That was fun too. We did GP obviously, and then we did the Indy, and we did Formula One the weekend. We were supporting the race. Yeah, Montreal. That was really fun too. Got the track walk with the F1 drivers. Yeah, it was fun. It was super fun.
Who do you remember meeting?
I didn't really meet anybody.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't just like it's
you just see them.
No, like you just see them like they're like biking around or like they're just walking with their engineers. Yeah, it's not really a mingling session.
Yeah.
You're kind of spread out.
Yeah.
So majority of the teams already kind of went.
Yeah.
And it was just like we did the afternoon, so I think we were like the tail end of it, but it was fun. It was really interesting to see like how like the engineers and the drivers were looking at the track. Track walks are always fun.
Yeah.
With like when you are with some real professionals, they really they really take everything into account.
Yeah.
Like like the biggest thing is like the floor. I guess like how grippy it is, and then like how like a certain corner it banks and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, it's pretty cool. And how like certain runoffs, like the material, like the grip and stuff like that. So everything is just like they're just writing shit down all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was dope.
Yeah, I mean, we rarely see that at the grassroots level.
Yeah.
Unfortunately. Like time attack is just basically like some people just show up by themselves, right?
You just wing it. Yeah, you just wing it. But track walks are cool. I mean, yeah, that was like my first experience.
Yeah.
The whole weekend was a pretty good experience for me. Then I think we did GP after that, I believe. Yeah, there wasn't that race year wasn't too. We didn't really travel a lot. There was one race that we didn't do. I believe it was in the States. Other than that, that's it.
Yeah.
So it was fun.
Would you still be down to do something like that in the future?
Have a kid, man. You know this.
Yeah.
I want to. I have a friend. Shout out to Andrew. He works for AWA.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how he does it, but it's pretty involved if you were to do it.
Yeah, it's constant traveling, right?
It's just a year-long thing. Yeah. I would love to do it. I think it's I would like to try to do it, to have a professional race car team for sure. You know, that's like a pretty big dream, but I think it's doable.
Yeah.
But it's a lot of time.
Yeah, like if it was like for any given race weekend, right? Like it's like a Friday, Saturday, Sunday kind of thing. Like when would you have to show up and when are you taking off?
So when we do, it'll be pretty easy. So I'll do GP. Yeah. So Wednesday, show up. Wednesday, show up. So Wednesday morning, you're there. Wednesday morning, I was there like at 7:30, 8 in the morning. I'm there.
Yeah.
And then the truck is already there.
Yeah.
Because the guy who picks up, it's a 52-footer, right?
Yeah.
It's a big trailer. So he picks it up the Thursday afternoon, Thursday night, and he drops it off there. Yeah. So when we show up in the morning, it's already there. And then you just basically and then at the time there was only like 3 techs. So me, the other tech, and then my shop foreman, and then my engineer who you've met in the past. We all just show up Wednesday and we just lay the floor down. Yeah. And then the tracks that we got are a pain. So it takes like all day to do it. So we would set up the awning. We would lay everything out. So, and then after that, after we lay everything out, my job is to set up the scales. That's like my thing. So I would we'll push the car in the one side. I would set up the scales and I would like paint the floor and make sure all the scales are all leveled. And then we would move the car over and then everything's set up, toolbox, everything, you know. And then Thursday morning, we show up around 6 in the morning. Yeah. 6, and then we get the car ready. Yep. So we align the car at the shop, but then when we get to the track, we check again with the strings. Just in case anything moves.
When you strap it down, you know.
Yeah. So we we get there, we just get the car ready, basically. Because Thursday, Friday is, I believe, like how the weekend went was Thursday, Friday are your test sessions. And then depending on when the race is, maybe Friday is like also qualifying. Yeah. But then Saturday and Sunday is the race. It's 2 45-minute races. So that's why the weekend is pretty intense. there's not a lot of time to like really relax, you know.
It's just crazy just reflecting on how many hours, how many days just to pull that off.
Yeah, and then you have to count your test days and stuff like that, so you got to pull up there.
Yeah.
So before on our first year, we just had we had a 50, we had like a 20-foot trailer.
Yeah.
The car would go in there with like the 10 by 20 tent.
Yeah.
And then after that, the pickup truck that we would rent would have all the stuff inside.
Yeah.
And then we'd borrow a customer's Sprinter. We'd put everything in the Sprinter, and then we just drive there like that. So we're like this team, and then like beside us on both sides are like
Massive.
52 foot like trailers. So we get good shade.
Yeah, you guys would be completely hidden. It's like
Yeah, but
people
that's how
trying
it
to find
was.
you guys.
That's how it was. I didn't care. I just wanted to race.
Yeah.
I'm sure my boss cared. That's because the year after we got a trailer, but I didn't care. I just wanted to race.
Yeah.
So, yeah, the first race as a team during qualifying, it started raining at GP.
Yeah.
And when it rains at GP, it doesn't rain on all the corners.
Yeah.
It only rains on some of them.
Yeah.
So
localized weather.
Yep.
Corners.
So where we were, it was fine. It was cloudy, but at the back straight,
Yeah.
it was spinning. So he hit the wall. He hit the wall in the go-kart. Yeah. He just spun.
Like turn 8?
Yeah. Just spun it. And then, my God, that was a good experience because we didn't sleep.
Trying to get that car ready again, right?
Yeah, so Friday, he hit it. Couldn't make Saturday's race because we were fixing it back at the shop.
Yeah.
And then Sunday, we won.
That's a good story.
Yeah, that class. But it was tiring, man. I have this photo. I'll show it to you.
Yeah.
We took a photo with the car after we were done, and we just all looked so upset because we were also like sleep deprived.
Yeah. It's like that meme of the kid is like, good for you.
And then the same thing at Indy. He hit somebody. He hit something at Indy too. So
yeah,
that's kind of like when the season's over.
So like when you're watching F1, you know, and then in practice or in qualifying, when the cars get bid, you just see the reaction at the pit wall and the
back then, back then I was like, how come we're not racing and possibly not having more money?
Yeah,
the sponsors like that, the money allocated for the year is done, and I didn't understand it. I'm like, okay, didn't get more money, then let's go.
Yeah,
but
if it were only that simple,
but it's a pretty costly weekend. Like tires for that weekend alone. I think this like so like almost 10 grand.
Yeah, just on tires.
Just on tires.
Yeah.
And then you always want, like, they always try to allocate at least one set of like fresh stickers.
Yeah, for the
weekend.
Yeah.
So it's like difficult.
Yeah.
So the second year we had a full season, so that was fun.
Yeah,
that was fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not without its I think we crashed at Indy as well.
I mean, that's kind of street circuits are always unforgiving though, and it's so bumpy too.
He was just being reckless. Yeah, it was funny because it was my birthday weekend.
Okay,
so it was Friday. It was Friday afternoon. We were the last people to use the track, so it was the last session, and they already threw the checkered flag. Like if he turned, I think it goes like it kind of goes zigzag, and in the front straight, and you can see the checkered flag. So we were in like the pit lane is basically where one of the corners are. This guy binned the car in front of us. It's funny because like we're talking like, oh, where were we going after? Oh yeah, let's go to Chinatown. Let's get some Chinese food, and then we go back home, and then we'll leave early today, and then we'll set up early tomorrow. That's always like we tried to like leave early. So the plan was we were just gonna quickly set up the car for tomorrow, so we don't have to touch it anymore. And then we'll just leave.
Yeah,
and then we'll have dinner and then have the rest of the night, right?
Yeah,
because that was around like 4:00, and I hit that wall. And what happened after that? the next time I slept was Sunday night.
Yeah.
Yeah, after the race was done. So
I mean, when those situations happen, like, what if there's something that happens during the race and you have to come in, you're like rushing, but like you're so sleep deprived.
yeah, I mean, you gotta do what you gotta do.
Yeah. I don't know.
You're just running on like triple, like like coffees.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was fun. It was fun though. I like the hustle. It was very stressful, but it was like when you get it done, it was fun.
Yeah. It's what you have the energy to do when you're still young and excited about things.
Yep. Yep.
Trying to get as much experience as you can.
Yeah, I can't do that now. Oh my god,
Yeah.
I could try, but no, this would be too much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So, you've went from the dealership, you worked at a performance shop, did some tech work for race teams, and then we get to this point in your career where you open up this place. You open up Driven.
Yeah.
What kind of led you to wanting to take that risk and that leap to do this?
I actually didn't want to do this.
Yeah.
The plan was before I worked at Speedstar, I was just gonna like grind for 15 years as a tech and then leave the trade and try to teach.
Okay.
Because obviously in high school, my auto teachers are like, you can't wrench forever.
Yeah.
So try to do it and then try to find an alternative exit to it. And then they're both like, this is what we did. We started teaching.
Yeah.
And he's like, I'm good. I can retire. Well, that's what you kind of think about. And you're like, oh, that sounds like a good idea, at the time because you're pretty set. And then I started working at the next shop. And I'm like, I don't want to do that. I want to keep racing. So that year, when we started the second year, I already wanted to leave. And it was like a personal thing. I didn't really like the direction the shop was going. Like just working on like Lambos and stuff. It wasn't fun for me. Like it was very stressful. And I didn't really find enjoyment in doing it. There's only so much Lambos you can drive.
Mm-hmm.
There's only so much like stuff you can do to this car, and like everything is like a high stress situation. Just because you don't want to mess it up. It's such an expensive car.
Mm-hmm.
So I was already looking for an out, and at the time I was talking to my buddy Andrew, and he's like, "Come racing if you want." And at the time I was like, "Yeah, that's something that I would like looking into doing." So I was slowly working towards that. And I still haven't written my mechanic's license. Yeah, so I already graduated. I have all the hours, but I just never, because it was just so busy at the shop that I never got to write it. And so that was like after 2016, I believe, I was like, okay, I'm going to try to leave. I don't know what to do. Maybe I'll go back to the dealership, make some money, and then try to pursue racing, like as a tech. Or I'll just like jump into it like 100% and then see where it goes from there. So that was the plan. And then at the time, my ex-partner had a shop down the street. And then he was having some issues with his partner.
Yeah.
So he wanted to leave. And I kind of was like, I'm like thinking about it. I'm like, oh, it'd be pretty dope to be your own shop owner. You can just do whatever you want.
Yeah.
Wrong. So I told him, like, hey, if you want to open up another place, I'll open it up with you. And he initially said no. But then later on he's like, okay, let's do it. So that's kind of how Driven started.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we started planning the shop maybe around like July of 2016. And then I finished my last race September long weekend at GP. And then after that, literally within the week, I went to write my license.
Yeah.
Yeah, I took a day off. I'm like, hey guys, I have to do a personal day. So went to write my license. And then I passed.
That's good.
Yeah, that's good. I didn't even study. I read the book like once, and I'm like, I've been doing this for so long. Let's run it.
Yeah.
So
Is it? What's the format of the exams? Like multiple choice?
multiple choice.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, multiple choice. It was like 150 questions, 160 questions.
Yeah.
And the passing mark is 70.
Okay.
Yeah, so I got 70. It was dope.
It's efficient.
Yeah, I remember I was in the toilet in the old shop, sitting there. I'm like, let me check if I pass. Like, I've been checking every day. So I checked the morning. It didn't really refresh. It's still pending, right?
Yeah.
So I'm sitting there. I was like, I checked again, and it said journeyman trade, like it like updated.
Yeah.
So apprentice class close journeyman. And I'm looking at it, I was like, oh, I passed. I'm like, yeah.
That's what that means.
Yeah. So I passed. And then as soon as I passed, I handed in my resignation. That was it.
Wow.
Yeah. I gave him a month's notice, and then I just left.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was a hard thing to leave, man. It was because you're going into uncertainty.
Yeah.
Where you have that place that you already established, you already set up, you know.
Did you have any moment like thereafter where it's like, oh no, like this was not the right choice? Like some people like make a decision and then like the day after is they're like, oh, maybe I should have done that.
I mean, not really.
Yeah.
Not really. No, there was no. I knew I wanted to leave.
Yeah.
And it was for just personal reasons. It wasn't because of them. It was just because of what I wanted.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I just didn't really see myself being there anymore. So wherever, like, even if I had to like leave the trade altogether, I was gonna leave. It wasn't because of this shop. It wasn't because of anything else.
Yeah.
The only thing that I missed was the racing. You know, I was the last person to close the door on the trailer, right?
On the trailer.
So I'm just like, everyone's like getting ready and stuff, and they're like, "Oh, just I'm like, I'll close it." So I'm bringing up the giant door, and I'm looking at the trailer. I'm like, this is the last time I'm gonna see this. Car, yeah. I'm kind of sad. This is kind of sad, just because it was like super exciting for sure, Yeah. So that was the only time I was like, damn. But this is before I told him I was leaving. So I was like, damn, I'm really gonna leave this. But because they went on to race the year after in the new chassis, the 991.2.
Yeah.
So it was kind of like, damn, And that year they were supposed to send me to Porsche Motorsport in Atlanta to do some, like, I guess you have to do like a course.
Yeah.
There's like courses they have. So like they teach you how to run the new chassis cars, like what's involved, because we were running the 997, and at that point the 997 was like, it's already been phased out like 5 years at that, like a couple of years at that point. So
yeah.
And then the 991.2 car just came out, so they wanted us to, and they were thinking about doing the 991.2, so they were gonna do that. So I was giving all that up for this. I was like, damn, wasted opportunity. But the grass is always greener.
Yeah, you can't be in two places at once.
No.
So
yeah.
When you guys were doing the planning for Driven, what were some of like the goals or like kind of like your guiding principles on what you wanted to achieve?
I tried to bring the motorsport stuff into it, but he was more I don't know, he was more realistic, I guess.
Yeah.
He was just looking into like, and I should have seen this. I didn't think he was really interested in doing the motorsport. Although he loves cars.
Yeah.
I don't think he was that interested in like he just wanted to like wrench, make money, and then go home type thing.
Yeah.
That's what I got out of it. Like when we decided to part ways, because I wanted to call it Driven Motorsport, but he didn't want to make it like that because we would.
It sends a certain message.
Yeah, it does. So we ended up with Autosport, which I don't mind.
Yeah.
So I mean, yeah, we had no plans of like modifying cars. It was just we were just like, basically we opened the shop, we're just gonna try to survive for the first couple of years, then we'll figure it out after that. But that's not how it happened.
Yeah.
As you know.
Yeah.
So,
Do you remember your first customer?
My first customer was actually we had to do, well, he had customers from the old shop
Yeah.
that came in, But my actual first customer that I brought in was I had to do a head gasket on a Subaru Forester.
Nothing ever changes.
Nothing ever changes. It was crazy. Yeah, that was the first one.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was. And after that, I just, a lot of people came and went and stuff. Yeah,
Yeah.
sure.
And you said the plan was just kind of like, let's survive the first year. Like, what do you remember about that first year? Because you just up here, right?
Yeah, we were on the other side. Beside us.
Yeah.
Not a lot of sleep.
Yeah.
Not a lot of sleep. We were there long nights.
Mm.
Yeah, we were there long nights. But it was fun. I had a good time.
Yeah.
I had a good time. It was good. It was good. He had some customers that obviously wanted to modify their cars, so they all kind of came. We all became friends and stuff like that. So it was a good time.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
People started just like hanging out.
Yeah, I started hanging out like on the weekends and stuff when we were here Friday nights. So yeah, it was fun. It was fun. It was definitely a different pace.
Yeah.
From what I was used to.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was a lot more slow, but also at the same time it was more hectic.
Yeah.
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 Just because now I'm like, I gotta make rent. I gotta make rent. I gotta get paid. My partner's gotta get paid. Everybody's gotta get paid. So
yeah.
I think that's like I had that moment. I'm like, oh my God, this is what it is, to just not to worry about all these things. I can't just like do what I want and I gotta file taxes and stuff like that. Do like responsible adult things.
Yeah. A lot of overhead to manage.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. So it was rather stressful for sure in that aspect.
Yeah.
And then you have like the uncertainty. Like my parents are like, to this day, they're like, "Oh, are you sure this is still what you want to do?" And I'm like, "Yeah, this is still what I want to do."
Yeah.
But they mean well. It's just that they just want to see me succeed
for sure,
and they don't want to see me stressed. They don't want to see me anything like that. So
yeah.
I understand. And yes, the easiest route is to just work for somebody else.
Yeah,
just collect a paycheck and just hang out.
Yeah,
but
that has its own problems.
Yeah, it does have its own problem, and I'm not quite there yet. Like I'm not ready to throw the towel in yet for sure.
Yeah,
because I feel like I haven't really achieved what I want to achieve.
Yeah.
Mm.
What cars do you remember, like between today and when this started? Like, what were some of the most memorable cars that have rolled through?
A lot of 86s.
Yeah,
yeah,
they're coming back.
I want them to come back. That was a fun time for me. I took that for granted for sure.
Yeah,
I took that for granted. That's why I got another one.
Yeah,
see if I can bring that back. Memorable cars. I mean, when you've worked on them all, it's like I like seeing like the cool things, like that K truck that was here.
Yeah,
or we did CSCS for a couple of years with this gentleman that had a cafe with the K Swap EK. Remember
the Suzuki?
No, it was the K Swap EK, the purple one.
Oh, the guy with the
yeah, Chris.
You when you said cafe, my mind went to cappuccino, and I'm like, somebody tracked the cappuccino.
He had a cafe down the street.
Yeah.
That's actually how we got back into racing, because he had asked
Funky
us.
Monkey, right?
Yeah, he had asked us, and I was like, I don't know if I want to do this. I told myself I wasn't gonna do it, but I guess
sucked into it easy.
I was like a snob a little bit because I'm like, I did Porsche Cup racing. What am I doing back in grassroots again?
Yeah.
That's why I was like, I don't want to do this.
Yeah.
But it's fun. It's honestly the same thing. It's just the only difference is money. Yeah. I think like the intensity is about the same.
The intensity, yeah.
I mean, the only difference is like there's so much more data in professional teams. So like there's really no room for mistakes. Like if you as a driver get out there and drive and what you're saying doesn't match with what the data is showing, you're done.
Yeah.
Whereas like in grassroots racing, it's just like, how do you feel?
Yeah.
Oh, it's a little loose. All right, we'll tighten it up a little bit, I guess.
Yeah, a little tire pressure here, a little tire pressure there.
So I was like, my engineer was here the other day, and he was like, how he runs his tire pressure, his discrepancy is 0.2 psi.
0.2.
That's how close he gets, right?
Yeah, we can't even measure that.
Yeah, that's like his like. He said that if it's more than 0.2, he has to rethink his life choices. That's how much data is involved. Whereas like in time attack, it's just like 30, yeah, it's fine. 32, it's fine.
Yeah. Like rarely anyone does like 1 psi increments. Like,
I still do it.
Yeah.
I just habit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just habit. I even have I bought a long anchor where it I don't remember what it's called, but I have it down there. It's and I use it for when Mikey ran. It's just to check how soft the tires are. Stickers.
Softness, like a durometer.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and obviously you have your tire temp gauge and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, some of that stuff I brought back when I started doing CSCS with Chris,
Yeah.
like tire temps and stuff like that. But it got really frustrating because, like the driver feedback didn't really resonate with like what I was seeing. So it was kind of hard to like correlate the two.
Yeah, and I think the issue with like time attack is like you just don't get enough track time.
Nope.
Like you think about like a race weekend with sprint races, like yeah, like you said, there's 2 days of practice. Yep. You can dial in the car, but you do time attack, maybe you get 1 practice session in the morning,
yep.
like 2 or 3 laps, and then you got to send it. It really rewards people who either have just like the fastest car class or just like super dialed in on reading a track and knowing what they need to not necessarily put down the fastest time, but just be better than everybody else.
Basically,
you know what I mean? Like you have to like constantly be optimizing for the whole lap as opposed to like breaking down each individual corner.
Yeah. Because even when we did Cup Car, it was like my engineer knew exactly how much the car used per lap, like how many liters of fuel he used per lap.
Yeah.
So, and he used to laugh about it, but when we used to bring the car back and we would set it down and then we would drain the fuel, he'd be like, there's 8 liters in there, and it'd be dead on 8 liters in there left. So yeah, so he knew exactly what to put in, and he knew exactly what would come out. So that's stuff like that. It's like you just get rid of like, there's no predictions. It's all just and that's something I have to get used to with like just grassroots racing in general, is that level of intensity is just not quite there, which is honestly, you would need like a team of like a lot of people to do it. Yeah. And it makes a lot of sense for cup racing because every car is the same. Yeah. So you're trying to find the fine marginal. You're trying to find the margins of where you can edge somebody out. Yeah. Because we're all assumed that every driver is relatively the same. Yeah. We'll assume that. And it's just all in the setup. Yeah. It's just how comfortable you can make the driver feel so that they can extract as much from the car as possible. Yeah. Yeah.
That's always like an interesting philosophical decision as well in terms of like setting a car up for peak performance versus driver comfort. Yeah. I mean, we're seeing this play out right now in F1. Yes. This weekend is going to be super interesting to see Yuki in the C, right? Because everyone's just saying like the car is set up for Max and he's like the only guy that drives but
even he's having a hard time, right? So if he's having a hard time, then what are you going to do, right?
Yeah, they might have to just change the philosophy of that car. Yeah. Like if they want that constructor's title, right? You can't have just one car. It's not going to work.
For sure. Yeah, I mean, I always try to set the car up for what makes the driver comfortable. Yeah. You don't want to drive something that's like, you don't want to be driving something that's always like, it feels like you're tippy-toeing. Yeah. You know what I mean? So like you're at the edge of what you can handle. So if that means that the car has to be a little bit more mundane, a little bit more understeery, just for you to extract the performance, then I'll do it. Yeah. It's not a big deal.
Makes sense.
There's nothing wrong with that either.
Yeah. Makes sense. So, I think you interact with a lot of people. You have a lot of like longtime customers now who have put like a lot of trust in the shop, right? And are running their own racing programs and participating in the local time attack scene or just like track day scenes. But I do wonder, like sometimes like they probably don't see like the whole picture of like what you're doing here and like everything that you're kind of managing Monday to Friday or Monday through Saturday kind of stuff, right? So I'm curious to hear from you firsthand, like what do you think some of the biggest misconceptions are about running a performance shop that that customers or outsiders are not be able to see outside in?
I think the biggest thing is time.
Yeah,
Yeah. They just don't understand how much time it takes to do something. My customers are pretty good. They understand because they see it. And
yeah,
that's why I'm very open because I show them exactly what I do,
yeah,
what it takes to do it. But yeah, I mean, I think the biggest thing with running a performance shop is you just can't charge somebody what you put into the work.
yeah,
Like you try your best to, but like if it takes you 20 hours to do something, you can't charge them 20 hours for that. They're not gonna come back. They're not even gonna pay for it.
yeah,
So that's why I feel like it's definitely like when people start doing performance stuff and then they quickly realize like we're not making money off this and they start doing other stuff too
yeah,
to kind of supplement it. Yeah, that's probably the hardest thing is just like the time and also managing expectations from people.
yeah,
So sometimes you just can't. So I try to be as open as I can, but it's difficult.
yeah,
Yeah, because I give, I care, and like people's emotions. That's my biggest problem. And like I let it, like I absorb their
yeah,
emotions.
yeah,
So I have a hard. Sometimes I have a hard time with that because it stresses me out.
yeah,
But I guess it's all this is a learning curve.
yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah,
it's yeah, I don't know. There's always gonna be there's always gonna be like you're always not gonna meet someone's expectations.
mm,
And so I think you have to be realistic. Like even that Subaru that I'm doing right now, he came in here wanting to do like an extravagant build. And if that was any other shop, they'd be like, yeah, we'll do it, we'll push for it. But I sat him down and I'm like, this is not for you. This is not what you should do. You should just go back to stock and just enjoy the car as it is. And then he was really adamant. So I'm like, okay, I'll price you out. And when I sent him the quote, I'm like, this is the cost. I don't think you should do it. You should just do it like this. So I actually undersold myself
yeah,
just because I don't want the customer to, like he doesn't need that.
yeah,
Yeah, he doesn't need that.
yeah.
Yeah.
No, I think that's like obviously like it's a great thing.
It would have been amazing if I got the job.
Yeah,
That would have paid for like 2 months of rent. Like it would have been amazing, but it's not. It's not, because you also have to, you can't just give them that and then just, here you go.
yeah,
You have to kind of walk them through that too.
hmm,
And if they're not aware of what it is they're doing,
yeah,
then, it's going to come back to you
yeah,
10 times harder.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's just one of the things that you realize after tracking car building tuner cars and tracking cars for a while. Like every time it's exciting to see new people come in to the
Yes.
sport and the activity, and of course everyone's got like advice to give and stuff like that. And it is true. Like sometimes it may feel like a bit of a downer for them to hear say, hey, listen, like don't do these power mods or stuff like that. Don't get these coilovers. Just like if you really want to make this a long term thing, go and get the seat time and think about like things that actually make a performance difference as well as make the car more reliable because you want to maximize your time out there.
Yep.
But I think the counter argument is always like everyone wants to make this hobby their own.
Yep.
And they want, even if it's not the right path, there's almost always like a rite of passage in terms of like, hey, I want to experience that firsthand.
Yep.
I want to experience blowing up my first motor in a sense, right? And it's like, and then it'll make sense to me, and I'll do whatever you're telling me that.
Yeah,
I
like
should
some
do,
people
right?
just want to learn the hard way. I'm that person.
Yeah,
I'm that person. So I get it.
yeah,
I get it.
yeah. So moving into thinking about the future of what you're building here, right? What do you kind of see for the next 12 months, next 24 months and what are your inspirations and what you're seeing from other shops, from shops that you follow on Instagram,
Yeah.
what they're doing, like what inspires you.
I think I need to specialize. It's something that I've been running away from for a long time.
Yeah.
Just because I like all cars. This is a problem. I like trying new things. But I feel like for my mental health and just for the easiness of things, I have to start. I have to start specializing.
Yeah.
I think that's the main goal. I mean, in the next 12 months, I just need to keep the lights running, I guess.
Yeah.
I want to do more like content stuff too, just because you have inspired me to do it.
Yeah.
And just doing it, just I have a lot on my mind.
Pick up the camera, press record.
Yeah, it's tough because, there's still this place that I have to make sure, runs. But I'd like to just do builds. I'd like to just focus on just modifying cars. I know it's such an impossible thing to think about, but I think it's doable.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's doable. I still want to do like regular work because that obviously will just enough like to pay a rent and make sure I'm not like, eating instant noodles all the time. But I would like to do more like cool stuff, cool builds, because I think right now we're at a time right now where people are starting to get older cars again just because your cars are so expensive.
Hey, yeah, with the flip-flopping on the tariffs and when they're going to hit, I think, obviously like dealerships and manufacturers are already starting to adjust their pricing.
I've been seeing it the last year that I see like a lot of people that I guess grew up with, or people that are in my generation or even a little younger, like my brother's like 5 years younger than me. They're starting to get back into like older cars, or they're just like keeping their cars and just like modifying it and stuff, just because everything's expensive and stuff. And so I'd like to just do that, just build cars that are fun. That are fun for people.
Nice.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes.
Yeah. And I guess related to that, like what are some of the, like if you to kind of look forward, like what are some of the trends in the tuner scene that you expect to either like continue or emerge, that you're kind of seeing little bits of?
I want people to like. I think the track scene has blown up a lot, like a lot.
Yeah. So many track days now.
So many track days. So many people try to get into it. It's become like its own thing, at a grassroots level too, which is really, really nice.
Yeah.
And you even see a lot of professional drivers get back into grassroots racing because it's more fun. But kind of want to try drifting. That's something that I really want to, because I want to do fab work. That's something that I'm actually in the process of learning right now.
Yeah.
So I think
that's a great application for
getting into drifting and just stuff like that. It really forces you to make stuff on your own, just because everything you either is too expensive or you just can't find it.
Yeah.
So you gotta make it yourself.
So I've been thinking about this because I totally agree with you that drifting is, like, from a content perspective, it just does a lot better too.
Yeah, man. Wall tapping is amazing.
I do that in circuit driving from time to time. So I mean, there's a 1 Series out there in the parking lot.
Yeah.
I will tell you, like 2 weeks ago, I was Googling is a 135 a decent chassis?
It is
for drifting.
It is.
So
it is very decent.
I feel like we should just do it.
Well, the diff, and just like just a hydro e-brake.
Yeah. What motor would you put in it though? That's the question. Probably be like a pretty easy LS swap. In there,
like an LS. Yeah, like an LS. I have an LS.
I think we should just do it.
I have a 6-liter downstairs. Yeah, I mean, I'm supposed to part the car out.
Yeah,
I have my E90.
That's what I'm saying.
But we can.
You can just strip it and part it out. Just keep the the chassis. It doesn't need to be rolling. We just because you're gonna have to make like arms or buy arms anyway.
Yes.
So
Yes.
maybe even the front subframe would be different if you're doing motor swap. So yeah, you just need that shell.
Yeah, that car's a good candidate to be LS swap. I mean, they're doing it so much in the States right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. I have thought about it too.
Yeah.
You know, just I guess, you know, there's gonna be some more time. So yeah. I do have to strip it because there's some people that want to buy some parts.
Yeah.
So I mean, yeah, by the end of it, we can possibly do it. I don't think it'd be that difficult.
That'd be a good project.
Yep.
Anyway, you know, so you've kind of gone through. I mean, you're still young, right? But you've been deep in this automotive career, basically straight, like even before high school ended, right? Up until now.
Yep.
How would you say like your relationship has changed with cars?
It's a lot better. It's a lot better.
Interesting.
For sure.
Okay.
It's a lot better. I have like it's hard to explain. I guess growing up you just wanted a certain like me growing up, I just wanted like a certain look. I want the car to feel a certain way.
Yeah.
And I mean everybody goes through it as you grow up, oh, this car's too stiff, car's this, car's that. I think the worst thing you can do, in my personal opinion, as a car person, is try to build your car as a track car. You know, like every car you have. You know, I don't think that's the way to go.
Yeah, you need to talk to our buddy Jay. He always says, "This is gonna be the street car," and it's like, nah, everything.
Well, I mean, I guess if you haven't been doing it for long enough,
yeah,
you know, like I've been driving on stiff suspension since I was like 18.
yeah.
So, and all my cars have been manual. So,
yeah,
it gets to a point where you're like, well, every car has its like, you can enjoy everything.
Yeah,
know?
has its purpose.
Yeah.
That's why everybody wants a massive garage.
Yes.
Then you can have a car for every purpose. Because I totally agree. Like, you know, after doing a couple of years of tracking, you building a track car, all you really want for getting around town is just a plush, roomy car. You know,
Yep.
That's what makes you happy afterward.
That's why the BRZ is. I've always emphasized it'll be a street car.
Yeah,
because like I turned the 135 into like a purpose-built track car, and I just didn't enjoy driving it other than at the track.
Yeah,
you know, driving to the track sucked. Going home from the track sucked. You know, just because it was too stiff, the seat's too uncomfortable.
Yeah,
and then you're just tired. So I think it's what happened. I think it's what happened when I got like a trailer. Yeah. You just throw it in a box, you just chill, go home. It's amazing.
Yeah, you don't even have to unpack it.
You know, you just leave it in the back. Hopefully nobody steals it. Just come back the next day and unpack it. But no, it's like for sure, because back then I had zero mechanical remorse. Zero. That's why I'm surprised I haven't blown anything up. But I just didn't care. Yeah. Because I'm like my thought process was, if it blows, I'll just fix it. Yeah. But now it's actually a bad thing. I have too much mechanical remorse. Yeah, I have too much just because I've seen it all. Yeah. You know, I've seen people blowing motors. I've seen the emotion that comes with that. Yeah. You know, and I've experienced the amount of work it takes for me to get it back together. Yeah. So I think that's my relationship with cars I think it's gotten better in that aspect, that I'm more cautious just because I don't want to have to go through that. But at the same time, if I were to compete as a time attack driver, I feel like I wouldn't give it 100% just because I'm always gonna be a mechanic at heart. You know, it's the saying, it's either you have gasoline that runs through your veins or oil. Yeah. That saying, it's kind of corny, but yeah, you know, if you're a gasoline man and you just want to drive, yeah, I'm the other one. Yeah. You know, I enjoy builds. I like building stuff. I like seeing when it's done and then moving on to the next build, you know, not necessarily enjoying the drive. Yeah. So that's why right now the cars that I have currently, I'm trying to build. I'm just trying to drive it like the expectation is there. It needs to drive a certain way for me to enjoy it. That means it has to be built a certain way. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not great, but like the mechanical remorse part is not great because I know I can never just like go out there and just hammer on it.
Yeah.
I'll always have reservations.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, that resonates with me as like, obviously I'm not a mechanic, but I try to wrench on my car as much as I can. I'm probably more adventurous in terms of what I'm willing to take on than the average track enthusiast. And that's something that I always struggle with, like making sure that the car is still in good shape. Like there's something about like the material aspect of the car. It's like, hey, it's this physical thing, and if I don't treat it poorly and try to take care of it, it's not going to change, right? And so there's the potential for it to be this pristine, perfect track car. But then, as you know, we're both dads, we have kids, and when you have kids, you start really realizing there's like, hey, I don't actually have that much time to do this stuff anymore. And
you do, but it's your responsibility to make sure that you're spending enough time with your kid.
Yeah, of course.
So it's like, the moment Oliver was born, that was it. It was like all about him. It wasn't about anything else. So yeah, my wife is very understanding, so she'll let me do what I want to do.
Yeah.
To a certain point, but the margin is pretty high. So I can basically just go out and just do what I want. But I don't. I choose to stay home like 90% of the time just to be with my kid.
Yeah.
Just because, they're only going to be like that once.
Yep.
And,
they grow up fast.
And cars will always be around.
Yeah.
And you want to be able to I want to share my experiences with him.
Yeah.
It's something that my parents sometimes didn't get to do with me because they just weren't in it like how I was.
Yeah.
So, yeah. But yeah, I understand. Like with kids too, it's the risk factor is a lot, you don't want to weddle your wife for something stupid.
Yeah.
So,
absolutely.
Yeah.
But we always had a joke in the in the group chat. It was like, whenever someone becomes a parent, their lap times drop a 10th immediately. Maybe more.
The moment that baby pops, ooh.
Yeah. Just got a little slower. It's interesting that you kind of bring up like Ollie's basically grown up with cars around.
Oh yeah, ever since he was a baby. Yeah.
And so, I'm curious, like when he grows up and he takes an interest, like a personal interest in this stuff, like what would you say to him if he came to you and be like, hey dad, like I want to get into the trade?
Ooh, that's tough.
Yeah.
That's tough. If you just want to get into the trade, don't do it. I just feel like it just kills. Like if he has a passion for cars,
yeah,
I would definitely encourage him to do it.
Yeah.
But I would do it differently. You know, like go to school, go be a mechanical engineer, and then finish that, and we'll go build cool stuff.
Yeah.
Like don't go to a dealership. Don't do that, because if you love cars, that place will kill you. It will just kill your passion. And people can argue with me, and I will argue back. And I've seen it firsthand, where half the guys I went to trade school with were all into cars.
Yeah.
Now they all drive fucking Silverados and they all drive Priuses and stuff. They just don't want to touch it. They just watch from a distance, and I think it's like a very unhealthy relationship for sure. Yeah. Like a lot of guys that I went to trade school with are all at TTC now. They stop wrenching altogether because they just like, they're just over it. They don't want to do it anymore. So I think I will never discourage him to do what he wants to do, but I will try to my best to kind of show him in the right direction.
Yeah.
It's just things that I wish I did, instead of the path that I took. I wish I took something else, just because I feel like it would help me kind of right now, like where I am right now.
Do you think that like, so you set yourself on that path, right, of like going through the trade, doing the dealership, for people who are in that position, let's say like today, right? They're listening to this. I was like, oh, like what do I do, right? Like, is there no way to kind of escape that cycle, you think? Or is it just like It's just really like, what do you need? Like, you need people to come in from the outside and just like, hey, like, here are these other opportunities, or do you think like structurally is just like really tough to escape?
You just have to force yourself, I think, to do it. There are some people out there that still enjoy cars, but I just think that the structure of a dealership where you're working flat rate, so you're trying to just hustle for jobs, and it just, by the end of the day, you don't want to work on your own car anymore. You're just too tired.
Yeah.
And then all you want to do is just go home and relax, or, I think it helps if you're like group of friends that are all into cars, because it kind of pulls you out of that.
Yeah.
Like it kind of pulls you out of that. Because I did meet somebody like a week or two ago that's he still plays with cars, but he's a technician at a dealership. So I think if you can manage it properly, it's pretty doable.
Yeah.
Yeah. Me personally, like I know, like I love cars, so whether I work at a dealership or not, it'll be the same for me. Probably not to the extent of having like 5 cars, but maybe just having like 1 or 2. But
Yeah.
Yeah. Me personally, I think I'll be okay. There are some people that I grew up with, like some guys that I apprenticed through, where they told me they started the trade. They had cars and stuff, but then just life just gets in the way, and they want to do other things. They want to do other hobbies too. And when they're working at the dealership or like just a shop where they just do regular work, the last thing they want to do is work on their own cars. Like these guys used to bribe me with money. Hey, can you just do an oil change on my car?
Yeah.
Because I'm gonna go and do something else. I'm like, sure.
Yeah.
This is like back then. But yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, I guess it's like a hobby versus a passion, and people have always told me not to pursue a career. I guess like if it's my passion, and I agree for sure, because it does burn you out. But it's how much you're willing to, persevere, I guess.
Yeah.
Do that. Like I always say, I wouldn't, if I just had to do regular work, I would close the shop right away. There's no point of like just wrenching and, not having a good time, where I can just go back to the dealer, probably make more money, and just do the same thing. So that's what I'm trying to keep that's how I keep my passion alive, by doing cool stuff like this, because I don't want to just do regular work. Yeah. I'm gonna have to, but and it's good. I get the balance. So I still enjoy working on cars. I still enjoy doing regular work, and because it kind of flips me back and forth, so I'm not always so burnt out. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. My mind's pretty weird. I always talk myself into like things that no one else wants to do, and yeah, I always give myself pep talks. Like I always, like every single day, every morning, I always give some pep talks.
Yeah.
Of like what I'm gonna do, how I'm gonna do it, and need to make sure that I eat.
Yeah, you guys eat very late lunch here.
Very late. I eat and I make sure that I'm not burnt out by the end, because the difference between then is I can stay here till like I used to stay here till like midnight, 1 a.m. The difference now is I have to go home and be a dad.
Yeah.
Like Ollie doesn't care if I had a long day at work.
Yeah.
He just wants to go home and play with me. So that's why I have to like make sure that when I go home, everything turns off. That's why nothing really bothers me too much.
Yeah.
Just because I'm there, I can relieve stress if I wanted to. I can just hang out with them, and then when I come back here, just grind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Being able to compartmentalize is it's tough, but
that's what
necessary.
It is. Yes. That's what it is. I think that's why I started working out again. Just because, because I there's some days where I need to like relieve some stress, and I just don't know how.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's like compartmentalizing for me has always been very difficult. Even I guess it was easier when, you work a job that's more 9 to 5, and if you're not really passionate about it, it doesn't really follow you home unless you're stressed out about something.
Yes.
Right. But now, like when I'm working now doing this stuff, I enjoy doing it, and so like it kind of creeps into your mind. You're always trying to sneak in a little bit in the evenings, and I think that's like really, really because I have one of those mentalities where it's like something enters my mind, I have to take care of it.
100%.
Right? I can't just be like Joanne, my wife. She'll just like, oh, I'll deal with that in like 3 days.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I can't. Like that. This will be the only thing I think about for the next while. So
some ADHD behavior right there.
I definitely have some clinical like OCD, ADHD, something.
I think when the guys in the shop found out that you were leaving your job to do this full time, they were shocked.
Yeah, I mean,
and then they asked me how I feel about it. I'm like, just do it. What do you mean?
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, I think it's unconventional if you think about it in a conventional way.
Yeah.
Just content creating. Even like when I have to explain to my parents that my wife makes money making videos, like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
Like, how does she make money doing that? I'm like, she makes money. It's just, there's a stream of revenue. So like, when the guys are like, oh, for real? I'm like, yeah, I mean, he's basically doing what I'm doing, but it's just, he's doing it differently,
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, just do it.
Yeah.
Just do it.
That's what it is.
Just do it.
No, it's been fun. And
well, I'm glad you're having a good time.
We're just not getting any younger, right? So it's just like, if it's in your mind, like I just gotta take a swing and see what happens.
I mean, I'm glad you're having a good time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Especially with kid number 2 coming up. So,
Yeah, it's gonna be a different world
excited
all over
for
again.
you.
Yeah.
Very excited for you. Dope.
All right, let's wrap this up and let's wrap this up and get to the last segment that we like to do with the guests. So I like to call it modest dream garage. Okay, so your budget is 200,000.
Jeez,
200,000. That's a lot of money, right?
That is a lot of money.
Especially with someone as creative as you are. I don't know where to put it. And you have to choose 3 cars. Okay. But the rules are that you have to take care of all your needs and responsibilities with these 3 vehicles, right? So what's it going to be?
My daily car, everyday car would be a VIP LS 460. Or like the LS 500. That's a nice car.
Yeah.
Oh no, wait, 200K, right? That's really like, okay.
What?
Yeah. Like what I have now outside.
Yeah.
It's like a 2010, 2009 LS. So that's a 600.
Yeah.
But I would get a 460L.
Yeah.
It'd be on bags, some 3-piece wheels. That would be my daily.
Yeah. /
like, daily car, comfortable car. Mm-hmm. I think that covers pretty much 80% of what I do every day, like the daily driving and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Man, you came into this so ready to be like, that's gonna be like 30 seconds.
Like, what are the other like criterias for like a track car? I guess
maybe.
I guess if I wanted like a track car, it would be 200K.
200K.
That's like after mods or like just a car.
See everything.
Oh, everything. Yeah. Oh, that's even harder. Damn.
Gotta keep it modest. That's why it's called Modest Dream Garage.
That's true. That's true. My nice car, like my nice going out with the wife. It's gonna be really funny.
Yeah.
And then just like I'll call it also the Mexico car would be a Vet.
What do you call it the Mexico car? You could drive down to Mexico and
just do pulls, just like beat people.
Yeah.
Yeah, it would be a Vet. It would be
Man, C8s are getting real cheap. We can't sell those things.
No, they can, but it would be a C601. So that's like $100,000.
Those are still expensive. Yeah.
So that I'm basically like I only have like a little bit of budget left.
Yeah.
And then my third car would be a Gen 2 BRZ. That's turbocharged.
Nice.
Yeah, that's
kind of like the weekend.
Well, that's a track car.
Oh, that's a track.
That's a track car. The vet will be the weekend, like
street pulls.
Yeah, street pulls and stuff. Yeah.
All right. So your biggest car is your Lexus.
Yeah.
Is that gonna be enough?
Should be. It's a 460L, so it's got extra room.
Yeah.
For like 2 kids. I want 2 kids.
Yeah.
Working on it. Yeah, I think that would be it. Or like you want like I guess like for everything, right? I could switch the Lexus to like an SUV. I mean,
No, you
makes
sound
sense.
a little deflated there.
A little bit, a little bit.
Yeah, I get it. I
Like,
make
'cause-
do what you can.
Like I can't leave my cars alone. Every car that I have to do something to it. Like my wife's Audi is slammed
Yeah.
on 20s,
Yeah.
you know? And so yeah, I guess if it's just like my personal cars, yeah, those are the three.
Yeah.
If I had to do like something with the shop, then I would probably
Get a truck.
get a truck.
Yeah.
Get a truck or like an SUV, yeah.
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 Makes sense. All right.
Great.
Any shout outs that you want to give before we wrap things up?
Shout out to my wife for waking me up and, doing this podcast. No, I mean, if you listen to this podcast and, you have been to the shop at least once, thank you for your support. It's always appreciated. I might not show it at times just because when you pull up and I'm like if I'm mid job, I'm ignoring you. It's just how it is. If it's something like intricate, I'm not even talking to you. I'll say hi, but that's it.
Yeah.
But if you come like after 5 o'clock on a weekday, I'll talk to you for hours. But yeah, thanks to everybody who's been supporting the shop over the years. It's been really hard. It's been a grind, and I appreciate everybody just pulling up. Showing support. Getting oil changes done, whatever it may be. Even if it's like a simple tire plug, I appreciate everybody that comes here. I'm not biased. If you drive like a Mazda 3 versus like a Lambo, I'll treat you the same way as anybody else. So yeah, that's just like, I'm the reason why you guys are the reason why I'm still here. So I appreciate that.
Nice.
And shout out to all my friends that help me, just stay late at nights, making sure, I'm here. Like you're here with me and you're keeping me company so I don't fall asleep or the coyote in the ravine doesn't come attack me. It's happened once. There was like a fox that was just chilling there.
Really?
Yeah.
Came in the shop?
It almost did. And I started making loud noises. Started throwing like things at it and then just went away. Yeah. And then, shout out to you guys. You guys know who you are. I don't have to say your names, but are like, sketchy, like Facebook Marketplace finds.
Yeah. The ones where you need to bring a friend.
Yeah, like
just for your own safety.
Bring a friend, drive to Montreal to like go in this guy's random barn in the middle of nowhere to like buy Subaru parts.
Yeah.
Yeah, stuff like that. But I mean, and shout out to you, man. I know you wanted to do all this, and I was very resistant to it, but I'm glad you did it, and I'm happy you're here all the time. You definitely motivate me to do other things.
Yeah.
And it's just really funny to like hear you talk to yourself sometimes.
Wait, when I'm filming?
Yeah, when you're filming or like
what's just so annoying?
Not really. I mean, there's times where you're talking and I would reply back and I'm like, oh, he's not talking to me. He's talking to himself. Or like when customers come in, they're like, I think he's trying to tell you something. No. He's talking to himself. It's fine.
Yeah, those are the things I don't notice because I'll probably have like my headphones on or something like that.
Yeah, because no, they'd be like, how do you know he's talking to himself? I'm look how professional he sounds. He doesn't sound like that.
That's funny that you say that because I need to try and make the tone of the voice more casual. Because sometimes you do videos and you it sounds too polished.
I think it's because you accentuate the words so people understand you.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah. Gotta find the balance.
You just gotta talk a little ghetto, I guess.
No, not like that. Just more off the cuff. More off the cuff.
Yeah.
Anyway. Well, if you have any questions for Enrique, just drop them in the comments down below and I'll make sure he gets his eyes on them. But yeah, I appreciate you coming on upstairs and recording this with us. And it's always a good time to
I gotta go back to work. It's gonna be a long way down.
Yeah, it's what is it? It's 10 a.m. That's almost 11. It's almost 11. That's when the day starts, basically.
Basically.
All right. Well, thanks for joining us for this episode, and we'll catch you guys on the next one.
Oh, if you have a blown Evo 10, let me know.
Okay, you're in the market.
I'm in the market.
Just what, for the chassis?
Yeah.
What are you gonna do with that?
I don't know.
You just want one.
Yeah, I'm kind of itching. See,
This guy's gonna just go downstairs straight to Facebook Marketplace. Just
I've been.
scrolling. You already set up some alerts.
I've been. Yeah, it's okay. I should really get an STI, but
I'm good.
all right.
Anyway, all right. See you guys.
Peace.